Hey, it's Raymond here with gotimetraining, and I'm back at you with my 3 trainer tips. So, my 3 tips today are going to be about the hip hinge. All right, that's going to be one of the most difficult things for you to get your clients to do. Some reasons for that is they just don't have the knowledge. So we always think that it's like proper cueing, they just are not getting, but a lot of times it's just the muscles don't know how to do that work. They have a neurological issue that just is not teaching them the muscles to be able to move, or they don't have the range of motion and the mobility within their hips to actually do the exercise. So it's not that they're not getting it, they just might not be able to be telling the muscles to do the work properly. So we're going to show you 3 different things that you can do to kind of help get your clients to engage those muscles and have an understanding of what you're trying to show. So the hip hinge is going to be a part of a lot of different exercises. It's going to be part of the squat. It's about the first 10 to 15 degrees of a squat should be a hip hinge, and a little bit larger degree of that obviously through a deadlift or a Romanian deadlift, single leg deadlift. You get my drift. So hip hinge is going to be an exercise that we do a lot. We're going to be holding those when we do bent over rows, maybe even kickback. So one of the first ones we can do is going to be a hip hinge using a dowel rod. This is going to help keep the client's back nice and neutral and kind of teach them how to push those hips back. So what we're going to do with the dowel rod is we're going to put it right in the lower back. So lumbar, hands going to be here to fit through that lower back. If people have a little bit of shoulder mobility issues, this can be difficult. And then I like the hand above the head, that way I can push against my head and kind of pull this next to me. So I want 3 points of contact here, one on the back of my head, my thoracic spine between my shoulder blades, and on my sacrum of my booty there. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to push my hips back, hold this nice and straight, and I want to try to keep those contact at all times. And we're just doing about 10-15 degrees of motion. If I keep going farther, then I'll have more of that, but you notice when I round my back, that dowel rod comes up. So I want to cue my clients to keep that next to them at the whole time, pushing their hips back. They should feel that on their coccyx and sacrum at the bottom there, to the whole set. And that's all I'm doing, is just teaching them to pull back. So they call this simplicity. We're breaking down the squat, and we're doing just the first 10 to 15 degrees of the movement. So how I'm doing that, trying to keep those contact at all times, not letting this round or not coming down here and be hip hinging back. Okay, so that is one, hip hinge with a dowel rod. We can use this handy-dandy dowel rod again for number 2. Number 2, we're just going to put this dowel rod up against our legs here, and we want to teach our clients that when they are doing a hip hinge, that they're not leaning forward, right? Getting forward flexion of the lumbar, and they're not actually hip hinging and pushing those hips back for extension. So one way we can do this is keep this right next to us. We can roll this down. That teaches them to drop down linear, keeping that chin tucked, dropping it straight down our shin, coming right to mid-shin, pulling right back up. 1, this is activating those glutes and getting them kind of on fire and re-educated, teaching them to work and move. 2, it's teaching us to linearly go straight down. I tell my clients I want them to drop this dowel rod right on their shoelaces. Once again, keeping that chin tucked, back nice and neutral, not having that rounded or lordosis, and really pushing back through there. Okay? So that is number 2, just showing the hip hinge using a light bar to teach them how to do that, and then they can graduate to obviously a barbell or something with some weight a little bit longer. Okay, step 3. Okay, once again, there's sometimes just some self-awareness. A client doesn't really know what's going on. They can't see themselves. So using a mirror is a great technique, but also having some kinesthetic feedback like a wall can kind of teach them where they're at. So this way we can actually do progression. We can actually go farther away to teach more of a higher hip hinge or a deeper hip hinge. So start with the wall close. We can start the same thing, and we tell them all we want them to do is touch their booty to the wall. If you don't have a wall, you can hold a dowel rod behind them and have them do the same thing. And then when you're cueing them in the future, you can say, imagine that you're touching your butt to that imaginary wall, a foot behind you. So the first thing would be the same thing, keeping the chin tucked and just pushing, touching the wall. Hip hinging, here, boom. Then I got some kinesthetic feedback. I know what's going on. I can touch that, I'm touching the wall. If I want to increase that, I can literally mark on here, or I can have the client come a little bit farther forward, and then do the same thing. Hip hinge back, trying to touch that wall. That way, really forcing them to understand that their hips are going to go straight back and they're going to get an extension. So this will help, once again, start activating the glutes, make sure that they're not using their quadriceps as much through a squat like a lot of people do, and also will help them learn how to do a lot of the proper techniques to keep their back nice and safe and get all the benefits from exercise.